So this bus has similar report with no. So that is Vandal Lock. So let's go take a look and see if we've got some Vandal Lock set. Or it could be an emergency door. It could be an emergency door that's not set. So that Vandal Lock was good. This Vandal Lock is good. And this Vandal Lock is good. So we'll see if our buzzer is still going off. I don't think that's part of the original complaint, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. Could be a roof hatch. Could be a roof hatch. That one looks good. This one. And that one looks good. So I think look at those cameras. Wow, fancy. Those are pretty cool. Nice flush mount. All right, so we're gonna come back to that as probably a buzzer for emergency door or roof hatch. Sometimes there's a switch with a harness up here on this thing, which there does not appear to be one. So like I said, we'll come back to that later. But you will notice that when I key on, we're not getting any power there. We're not getting any power there. So let's go check the back of the bus. So the key is on, or we have power with the buzzer, so that means the battery is on. We had taken this cover off. Just quick glance in here, everything looks normal. This one is still under warranty, so I'm just doing a quick look-see to see if I can see anything obvious. Our rear switch is in the off position, so let's go ahead and put it over here. Engine powered up. So that orientation is a little funky. Usually they go up. As long as it's not rubbing on anything, it should be fine. Let's see if it'll start. I've got no start. Make sure it's plugged in. It is. Clips are locked in, holding it in place. All right, so we're getting no start. All right, let me go grab my power probe. All right, so let's see what we have here. We've got 12 volts coming into the relay. We've got our ground out to the solenoid, so that's reading through the load of the starter solenoid. And if let's see if I can do this with one hand, maybe. Come on, stay. And so right there, it's reading that ground. If I bump the start button, no change in the solenoid here. So let's go ahead and pop that connector. So this is the control side, this green and yellow back here. I might have to snake it down so I can test it. There we go. All right, so the yellow wire, I believe, is coming from the ignition switch. The green wire. So I've got a ground on both. Let's see if I can do this so that you can see what I'm testing here. So we're going to test the green wire. And we'll bump start, stays green, meaning it's ground. And then now we'll test the yellow wire. The yellow wire should go to power. And it does not, it stays ground. Our problem is not with the relay itself. Can't really get in there to jump or bypass the starter solenoid. So for now, we're gonna assume the starter solenoid is good. And we're gonna move further back in the circuit. Come on. Oh, one thing I can try is if I apply ground to the green, or apply power to the green, and see if it shorts the meter. So that shorts the meter. Same thing with the, all right. Same thing with the yellow wire. So the relays you heard clicking were the ignition dropout relay. All right, so now I'm at the front of the bus. This bus is equipped with Vandal Locks. We do have a buzzer going off, so it could be a Vandal Lock circuit issue. I did a visual inspection of the Vandal Locks. It all tested okay. So we have this start circuit here, which is interrupted by the Vandal Locks right now. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is unplug and put this purple wire and this yellow wire together, and that bypasses the Vandal Lock circuits. So if it's an issue with the Vandal Lock circuits, then this should bypass that, and it should crank. So let me just go ahead and pop this clip. Boom. This is going to be a little tricky. So this is for testing purposes only. If your bus is equipped with Vandal Locks, you definitely want to find the source of the problem, not just bypass it. Okay, so there we've got the two going together. So now we're going to go back to the back of the bus, see if we have a starter. So we've got another rear switch on rear. All right, so that's an issue with the Vandal Lock circuit. I'm going to put that on front. I'm going to put the cover back on here, and then we'll figure out what's going on with the Vandal Lock circuit. All right, so testing the Vandal Lock circuit. We have this relay cube here. The pink wire is the wire that prevents it from starting. So if I unplug that, so I got that pink wire off. I'm going to go to the other side and do the same thing. All right, so now to the other side, we should have that same looking relay module right here. So if I unplug the pink wire, all right, so we got the pink wire off, it's still going, which means it's back in there. So we got to pull those screws out. Let's go ahead and build up some air so we get that buzzer to shut off. All right, so on this module here, we've got orange wire. Orange wire should be power, white wire is ground. What I found is we do not have power on orange. So let's look at some fuses on that circuit, see what's going on. So we have power. So our Vandal Lock fuse is good. So I pulled up the wiring diagrams for that bus, and looking at this diagram here, buzzer emergency exit. And let's go ahead and open this up in Acrobat. And if we scroll down, so this wiring diagram has multiple sheets to it. Down here in the bottom right corner says 1 of 5. So let's go down to number 5. And this is our Vandal Lock module, that cube relay that was in the wire panels above the windows. And we have our orange wire here, which should be battery power. And if we follow this circuit, it goes to connector P277, pin 4, and it says C sheet 2. So if we go back up to sheet 2, here's our P277, pin 4, turns into this black wire, and this goes over to our Vandal Lock, or slide bolt Vandal Lock fuse 9. So when I looked at that, the circuit breaker was missing from the fuse block. So I ended up grabbing a new circuit breaker and putting that in. I had one in my truck, so that was no problem. One thing that the customer did note that I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video is that this issue came up after the two-way radio was installed by a local vendor. And so I'm not sure if maybe he had bumped this circuit breaker, it fell out, or maybe he removed this breaker to prevent the buzzer from going off while he was working. I'm not sure, but I did replace the fuse. I still did have a buzzer issue. The bus started no problem once this fuse was installed, or circuit breaker. It was a manually resetting circuit breaker, like what the rest of the panel has in it. And I found that one of the side emergency door buzzer switches was out of alignment. And so I adjusted that switch. And after adjusting that switch, then the buzzer stopped going off all the time and everything functioned normal. The vehicle would crank and we had no buzzer when we were not supposed to have the buzzer. I did go ahead and I don't know if I explained, but I did put the
Vandal Lock wires, the yellow and the purple wire that I had jumped together. I did put that back to normal, and then also the wire that was missing from the buzzer that was in the electrical compartment. In the video, it shows that it's unplugged. That was while I was testing and while I was in there recording, so that it wasn't more obnoxious than what it already is. So I did go ahead and plug that back together after I was done recording, and everything tested okay. Please leave a comment, let me know what you think, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, and take care.